Hello, everyone. My name is Yoseliani. I am 19 years old, and I'm currently studying psychology at Webster University, Vienna. Um, I also happen to be an alumnus of Kiev International School, where our event is being held, and I graduated about almost exactly actually 2 years ago in 2013. I would like to thank all of you for coming out here today. This is honestly an absolutely amazing and very, very humbling experience for me. And I'm very proud that everybody comes out here to actually listen to what I personally even have to say. I'm here today because I want to talk to you about change. It's quite simple. We're very lucky today to have collected an absolutely amazing plethora of people that can speak to you about this topic on a very wide variety of subjects. And unlike them, I haven't really built paradigm-shifting drones or started new media platforms or created successful companies. I'm pretty sure actually while they were achieving, I was stuck on YouTube watching videos of cats chasing laser pointers. But, don't discredit me yet. I think it takes a lot of effort and dedication to sit through 2 hours of cats falling off furniture. But all jokes aside, I think that what I have done is I've struggled. I've struggled with change, and I've struggled with acceptance of change. And what I have done is I've learned. I've learned from changing times, from hard times, and I think I've come out a learner, and I have a little bit of experience with this. My story starts out actually a little bit cliched, because when I was graduating high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I was confused. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I did not know who I wanted to be. And to be quite honest, I didn't even know if I wanted to do anything with my life. And that was the problem. I was perfectly content with my life here in Kiev. I had absolutely fantastic friends. I had an amazing school. I had a house where I was completely always taken care of and comforted and nurtured. So I didn't really have a need to leave. I was protected, secure, nurtured. So when the time came to decide my future plans, I hit a roadblock. I didn't know where I wanted to go. So I remember dramatically storming into my house one day and declaring to my parents that I was going to take a gap year because I needed this time off and I had deserved it. So I left high school with a brave face. I was putting on a brave face for my parents, who were constantly looking at me concerned, but never actually asking, because they were dedicated to the craft of letting me make my own decisions and letting me go through life independently. I was putting on a brave face for my friends that would ask me, very, very worried of what I was going to do with my life. And I actually remember I would constantly give them a rehearsed answer that I was rejuvenating and I needed to travel and see the world. But worst of all, I was putting on a brave face for myself, because I was avoiding this very important decision, but worst of all, I was avoiding and procrastinating the real reason for why I did not want to leave. And I was coming up with constant excuses to nullify my behavior, which was not the right thing to do. And so the months rolled on, and I remember that 2 started turning into 3, 3 into 4, 4 into 6, and before I knew it, 9 months had gone by. And I did incredible things, I cannot deny it, and I'm actually very glad that I took that time off. But I'm not glad for why I took that time off. My reasoning for it was flawed. Anyway, as the spring of 2014 came to an end, I remember having the same realization over and over again, and that I had to make my decision once more. I had to decide where I was going to go, and the time had come once more. But this time itself was not on my side, because I could not procrastinate this decision any longer. I was an absolute wreck, to be completely honest with you, because I really had no idea where I wanted to go. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and it was really scary. It wasn't actually until one night that this issue was going to be resolved. I remember in the middle of the night making my way downstairs and seeing my mom sewing away at her table as she does to relieve her own stresses in life. And I remember the way that she looked at me and how she ushered me over and told me to sit down. And for the first time ever, as no one had ever done before, she just very candidly asked me a question. And all she did was ask me why I was so afraid. What was I so scared of that I did not want to move on? That question, to be completely honest, caught me off guard. I had no idea what to reply to her. I had no idea what to say. And that conversation ended with no resolution. However, I remember making my way upstairs and lying in bed and understanding that I could no longer run away from answering that question for myself. As I lay in bed that night, I realized that the answer to this terrifying, grandiose problem was actually extremely simple. Of course, I would like to blame my parents because they gave me an amazing life. I went to an amazing school, like Kyiv International School, and I felt very safe, very accepted here. I had great friends, teachers liked me, I liked my teachers, everything was going great. I had fantastic friends from all over the world where I could always speak to them about all different kinds of topics. And most of all, I lived with my family that loved me and accepted me and supported me. And because of that, I did not want to move on. It was very simple. I had an amazing life. So I was afraid that if I were going to make a new change, I would no longer have it. And as I lay in bed, all of these thoughts unraveled, and I realized that this fear of change was actually making me scared of very trivial things about college. I was afraid that if I would start doing laundry, I would put in too much detergent, that the washing machine would blow up, or that I would hit snooze too many times and nobody would wake me up and nobody would have my back, or that my roommate was going to end up psychotic. Or worst of all, that she would think I was psychotic. That would be even worse. But all in all, I was just scared, and I was letting my fear stop me from making a very important decision in my life. And it was terrible. And to be completely honest, I am very embarrassed of myself for having gone through that, from being scared of such simple things. I was trying to avoid a change for as long as humanly possible. That realization, however, was exactly a year ago. And today, I'm probably the happiest I have ever been in my life. I live and study in one of the most beautiful cities in the world. I have new and fantastic friends. And my roommate did not turn out to be psychotic. Well, not fully anyway, but that's kind of beyond the point. As I look back at that time, I find it really silly. I find these fears to be completely nonsensical, yet back then they were so tangible and so terrifying. Today, these frustrations don't really mean anything anymore. I decided to go to college after I realized I was being a complete hypocrite. I was always telling my friends that change was something completely natural, that you have to jump into the abyss of the unknown because you could come out a champion. I remember telling my girlfriends to get out of toxic relationships, even though they were completely terrified that this was their only shot at true love, and that if they were going to break up with him now, they would never be loved again. And I remember my friends coming up to me with new ideas, new projects, new dreams, new hobbies, and I would always tell them that yes, you should take this step forward. You should be able to take this change as it is and be happy with it. We are a society completely obsessed with change as a negative entity. We assign change this role of a foe. And sometimes we even think that change is something done out of mere desperation. It's a cookie-cutter idea that's pushed onto us by Hollywood and self-help books that always tells us that no, if you're fed up with your life and your desk job sucks and you're just this miserable little coil in the machine of life, you should upheal everything, uproot everything, buy a sailboat and sail away into the horizon. And this is actually perhaps the only way change is positively represented in our society. And I think that's a problem. I actually remember sitting in one of my psychology classes and being introduced to a scale. The scale is called the social readjustment scale, and the premise to this is actually very simple. Just hang on with me. You're given a list of life situations, and each of these life situations has a number. You go through this list, you tick off every single thing that applies to you, and then you tally up your results. This yields a number. This number is supposed to represent how stressed you are in your life and how much the stress is going to put your health into jeopardy. As I was taking this test, I realized that every single item on it pertained to some sort of life change. Pregnancy had 50 points, getting married had 25, moving locations had 20, change in diet had 15, change in schools had 25. And admittedly, not all change on this list was good, But not all of it was bad either. The measurement of the scale runs from 150 points to 350. If you score 150, 200, you're mildly stressed, probably not going to die anytime soon. You know, you're doing okay. If you score above a 300, you are putting your life in jeopardy. Everything is going to be bad. You will have all the diseases, all the diabetes, everything. My score on this test was 290. So it will probably have a brain aneurysm like now, and I genuinely and sincerely apologize in advance, and thank you for listening to me. But in all honesty and all jokes aside, we are so afraid of change that we build scales to measure its effect on our health. We are so afraid of change that we'd rather let it affect our health, let it give us a heart attack, than let it in and deal with it accordingly. And this, honestly, is why I'm here today. I want all of you to befriend change. I want all of you to understand that change is going to come in any case. It is going to happen either way, whether you want it or not, whether you're ready for it or not, it is going to come knocking at your door. And you better be ready to open up and welcome it into your house, into an open embrace, before it grows impatient and puts a brick through your living room window. Change is going to happen either way. It's going to happen regardless of your attitude toward it, and your attitude actually is perhaps the only part, the only variable that you have control over. But the good news is that your attitude toward change is perhaps the only thing that can alleviate the negative side effects that it may bring. It is the only thing that can make change better. All of this is very inspirational and la la la, but how do you change this attitude? What is the step that you can make in order to actually make this change in your life? You make that change by realizing that the more you are afraid of change, the more you avoid it, the more you oppress it, the more you hide from it, the more you prevent it from being positive. Being afraid is important, and I cannot deny that. It helps us keep ourselves safe and preserve ourselves. But being afraid of ifs and maybes is completely counterproductive. What if they won't like me? What if I can't do it? Maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe I should just stay home. But life does not work on ifs and maybes. Life works on yeses and nos. Life works with structure. Life works angularly. Life flows and changes. Life is a constant change. And the way we do that is by embracing change. And we do that by understanding that we have potential. And our job here is that we must fulfill that potential. If we try, if we work, if we persevere and choose not to be afraid of the unknown, then we can indeed come out to be champions. I will not lie to you and tell you that every single change in your life is going to be super positive and great. Sometimes it's going to be terrible. Sometimes it's going to be hard. Sometimes it's going to hurt. Sometimes you're going to make wrong decisions, and sometimes you're going to choose the wrong path. Sometimes you're going to wish that you did not move at all. But if you don't move at all, if you choose to stay put and sit, every single good that could come out of your future is going to be left unrealized. If you choose to be afraid, if you choose to stay, if you choose to sit, you're never going to be able to experience any positive change. If I chose to stay in bed that day, I would have absolutely nothing to talk to you about today, because I would have absolutely nothing to say. You can choose to stay home and stay cooped up in your house till the rest of your life, no problem. But I sure as well hope that when that one constant change, the one that all of us are destined for, comes knocking at your door to collect you at the end of your life, I hope that the life that flashes before your eyes is going to be that of a man that has lived. Change is a living being. It is an entity that we cannot avoid. It is an entity that we can only befriend and learn how to coexist with. It will bite sometimes, but sometimes it will offer us great gain, great protection, and great opportunity. As my friend once told me as we were sitting and pontificating on the meaning of life, change isn't good or bad, Ani. Change simply is. Thank you.